Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday, January the 20th, 2024. This is the weekend webinar, and another really eventful week, especially with the major indices, S&P and NASDAQ, etc., hitting new all-time highs. And interesting, though, the price action was terrific. The underlying technicals were not. I think the market's getting tired. But when I look at this pattern, what I see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the beginning of a fifth wave with a breakout Friday could spike this market and blow it up into the 5,000 range. Now, I don't know if we get that kind of follow through or not, but the propensity or the possibilities of that being occurring early next week are there. However, we are somewhat overbought, so it's going to be a tough call, but I'd be awfully careful up here. But continue to play your momentum with trailing stops or with regular stops. I'm not a believer in trailing stops for the most part. Here's the S&P 500. You can see the consolidation range we've been in for about 5-6 weeks after the run up in this early December. And then here we go. And you can see that with the angles of the center showing that 5,000, give or take, is a potential target. What's the Nasdaq 100 look like? Not bad at all. As a matter of fact, it led the market with a gain of nearly 2% on Friday, with a lot of the big boys, Apple, Microsoft, Google, all doing very well. NVDA making new all-time highs, etc. So we'll go over those a little later. But for now, take a look at the rising channel. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave may only be a 1, 2, 3 right now. So which means we could get a 4 and a 5 into a 18,000 range or 17,800, which is my target actually. So we'll have to keep tabs on the way this looks, but there's your trend. The transportation index certainly recovered nicely. That and the IWM or the Russell ETF were both trailing pretty badly. But take a look at the nice spike on Thursday and Friday, breaking out of the declining top sign. And where did it bounce off of? If you look at the inverse head and shoulders on the tranny, it broke out here, it retested there and there, it ran up and then came back down and retested again. Also retesting the 50-day and then bouncing back up. If we can get up through, let's call it 15.7 or thereabout in the next couple of days, we should blow right back up and retest that high with the secondary target up around 16.7. What about the small caps? Because they were trailing. Well, they're still trailing, but they did bounce nicely on Friday, up 1.24%. You can see also that this, after what I consider a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth of a fifth, we rallied from about 162 to 205 from the beginning of November to beginning of January, a 2-month period. That's a fantastic run-up. You can see the overall picture shows a kind of almost a 2-year base pattern that's developed, which could fuel a huge small cap rally if this level, Wednesday's low, or is it Tuesday's low, was not taken out. This is 187.5. That's my key support right now. If you see that come down, it's not going to be good for the market. Now your resistance is 197 and 205. So you can see that for the most part, the S&P strong, the NDX certainly strong as the S&P, if not stronger. And then the transportation index starting to rebound along with the IWM. So maybe they're playing catch up. We'll have to see what the market gives next week, but you know where your support levels are. What about the underlying indicators? Well, the oscillator, which is comprised of advanced declines and up-down volume, and this is the one thing I really want to address this weekend. We are not seeing the kind of underlying technicals that we want to see supporting an advance. That troubles me big time. So the Cullen oscillator is comprised of advanced declines and up-down volume. Take a look. The market rallying to all-time highs. The Cullen oscillator dropped from plus 155 and got all the way down to minus 187 until Thursday, Friday, when the market bounced and they did rally back. But still, not a very impressive indicator at all, showing weakness underlying in the market. Percentage of stocks above their 40, also while the market was moving higher, has dropped dramatically from upwards of almost 80% down to cut in half to 39%. So, but there is a support level here. We did get a nice bounce Friday. It took it from 39.80 to 50 and closed just under that. So that was a nice bounce on Friday. But you can see that the underlying technicals are not supporting this advance. They're nowhere near the overbought levels that we've seen before. And the VIX started to bounce. but also backed off. So we're not seeing the kind of fear, more apathy, and that's also troubling. Uh, you guys will have to really pay close attention to these technicals in the next few days and weeks. So let's look at some of the major components. Apple, even though it didn't make any new highs, I was incorrect in that, but it did have a beautiful snapback move. Take a look at the gap up from the low on Wednesday when we reached 180 to Friday's high of 192 almost. 12 points is a big run up. About 6% in Apple with a breakaway gap as well. And again, and here's the thing, it filled this gap that it had 2-3 weeks ago. So there, it could be, this is a big resistance level. So watch Apple next week because it followed through here and we got a real strong rally on our hands, which could get this back to near 200. But a failure, especially under 186, would be very negative. Amazon, not far from its all-time highs. Well, that is not true. Not far from its multi-year high, two-year high. Far from its all-time high. But you can see that the trend is up and doing well with the target now 164 and 170. Google, that's the one that made a new all-time high. Nope, that didn't either. Back here in 21, 22, we had highs in the 150, 53 range. But this is the two-year high for Google, and it spiked up a couple percent on Friday and broke out, though. The angle of ascent, the way I've drawn it, indicates the possibilities that we see going forward, 151 and 155.6. I like the way Google's set up. Microsoft, dynamite, that's a new all-time high. Broke out of that coil I showed you a week and a half ago and went vertical from 364 to 397.8. Actually hit 398.99. Almost 400 now in Microsoft. How about that? Some of you may remember Microsoft was 15 to 25 for like a 10-year period. Take a look at this back in here. It went nowhere for a long time. Anyway, so Microsoft is dynamite looking. NVIDIA, well, boom chakalaka, folks. 594, almost 600 on Friday, 596 and change. More importantly, look at the run we've had on NVIDIA. Once it broke back out across this triple top, it was Katie barred the door on this one. With NVIDIA going from a recent low, just January 3rd, 473 to almost 600, 120 points. Excuse me, on NVIDIA, breaking through a triple top. And taking a look at some of the others, Netflix is just not doing great here. It's stalled in its zone, but it didn't look bad overall, does it? On the other hand, new all-time highs in Meta, as it blows up to near 385. Looking quite good up here, doesn't it? And changing the angle to look a bit more aggressive. The stock is really solid. And finally, in this group, Tesla, the weak link has really had a negative reversal recently. 265 to 207, losing 58 points in about 3 weeks. And it's on a key area where if it breaks any lower, you'd probably go under 200. Next support is 194, folks. And beneath that, it's all hell breaks loose. So it's a pretty negative looking chart and one of the worst, if not the worst, in the Nasdaq 100 Generals list. Okay, some of the other major ETFs we follow, the SMH for semiconductors, which are really fantastic. Multi-year highs in many stocks, if not all-time highs. Look at the SMH. From July 22 to January 23, SMH, which had come down, formed an inverse head and shoulders, broke out, flagged, and just stepped higher. We had a 5-wave decline July through October, bottomed and ran out and broke out. And now, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave advance. Can the 5th wave blow out and get up to 208, 210, my target area, maybe 215? It's hard to say right now. We are a little extended, but we are by all angles of ascent, this looks to me like it's at mid channel right now. So semiconductors leading, but what about the financials? Not really. We have not got even to a new recent high. So I would say that one thing to watch going forward on financials would say if the FAS takes out 15.5, we have a big problem. But that spike on Friday was very encouraging. And right now, looking to me like, if you look back a year and a half or so, a massive base breakout platform. We break out above here now, and we may be headed for 20.5, 21 zone. Way, way up there. So very optimistic about the possibilities if we take this out there. So watch the FAS above 16.75. It might be adding on to anything that the SMH has to give us. I'm not thrilled with biotechs. They were looking great for a while, but look at this pullback that broke not only the channel, but is pressing for support. And a dive beneath there, you probably test a VWAP around 81. So be careful with the biotech sector right now. It's just a little extended, but still individual stuff that I'll show you today that are looking great. So those are the major ETFs. And I also look at oil because you want to see what that's doing. It's basically coiling after 5 waves down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, and then a retest. So is this a base or is it a bear coil? Well, if we break out to the upside, especially above 71, above 71, 71.10, this thing could reverse up and the oil could start to make a move again. UCL looks the same. Gas, well, the KOLD, the bear ETF for gas, is basing. And this would be very, sorry, wrong symbol. There you go. So KOLD, which had run up sharply and come down, did about a 50% fib retracement right there, retesting the breakout point from the base originally, and spiking back up again, is now up against resistance, but above the moving averages. Very encouraging for the bears, but not happening at all for BOIL and UNG and some of the other ETFs. Natural gas looks lower to me, and the KOLD looks higher to me. We'll see what happens. So that's oil and gas. What about gold? Well, man, that was a really bad week for gold, in my opinion. You can see a lot of them broke down and left island reversals, very negative island reversals to the downside. I could see a test forthcoming. It's going to test this low down here, about 27. We're not far from it, and maybe even retest the lows again. But promising inverse head and shoulders with breakouts. Very much disappointed and head faked everybody. The JNUG, very much broken. And then the silver sector, AGQ looks pretty bad too. So I'm just not high on precious metals, and I've been telling you that for months. Very sloppy, hard to track type patterns. So that's covers oil, gas, silver, and gold. And we'll have to move on now. I have a lot of stocks to cover, folks. There's a lot of bullish charts. Let's take a look at ACIC for starters. Look at this chart. Here's a stock that went from literally from a quarter to $12. And yet, look at the breakout this week. My extension target is 15.16. ACLX, beautiful long-term rising channel. This biotech stock, after running up in November, and is coiled for 6 weeks, and maybe 8 weeks now. And any move through here, that would be above 59, probably gets me in the 70s. ACMR, semiconductor stock, popped up and pulled back, targeting 20. If the SMH and these semiconductors continue, looking for 25.6 and 30.31. AFRM, a tech trader swing, and a great one, popped out, it ran and kept running. Finally, it's been in a 6-week or 5-week consolidation pullback falling channel towards the 50-day moving average. It would be ideal for this one to hold somewhere in that area. Key support right there. And if it does go, I'd be looking for a retest of 47 and then 53. ALAR, I want to show you this, folks, because after a slow ascent, it started to really run. Now it's pulled back, but it's a very intriguing chart. I think that going forward, if it holds in this area, you might see 16 and 18. Alpine, another biotech stock, Alpine Immune. Large basing type formation, breakout, retest, run up, and channel up. Right now it's consolidating in here. I have a $27 target. ALBO, low priced biotech as well. That has not so low priced anymore. It coiled here in the 8-9 range. It's exploded Friday in particular, up to 13 or 17.5%, right at the highs from a year ago. Any way we get through here, and it's going to be 16, 17, 18. AMD Advanced Micro did phenomenal, hit a new all-time high with a pop of another 13.32 on Friday, or 8%. Buying was heavy, 144 million. Stocks near the top of the channel as well. Now the long-term pattern, I don't know if this is legitimate or it can do that, but I can see the stock at 2.25, 225 sometime in the next few months. The retailer ANF continues to just channel up from the mid-20s to over 100 now. Friday jumping more than 4 points to 101 plus. Top of the channel target right now is 1078. APLS, the tech traded swing, after getting to my target, is backed off in a very orderly pullback fashion. It'll be a nice little falling flag, parallel, low volume. Next target, retest 72 and then 77A and 78. I added in semiconductor ARM. It went back public again after being private for a while or being acquired. This one looks really good. This is, I believe, British. Big pop on Friday of 438 or 6%. My eventual target mid to high 80s. AUTL and a beautiful rising channel. Is a tech trader swing, and it broke out and ran, and now it's consolidating. It looks like a large 1, 2, 3, 4. A fifth wave could take this to 10 eventually. Keep an eye on this one. AXGN, something new. Well, I haven't been following it that closely. Look at the long-term decline. A big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a pop 2, 3, 4. This might continue for a while, but eventually I'm looking for 11. BBIO, beautiful rising channel, showing me a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave is underway with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I don't know if it's done yet. Obviously, you want to stop under, say, 33, 34. Anything over 40, well, at 44, anything over 44, and we're probably looking at low to mid 50s, if not more. BFRG had a monster day, and matter of fact, look at after hours Friday. It closed here at about 487 and exploded to more than $1 before coiling into the close. Watch this one on on Monday, because it looks like not only did it break out above all of that, but it closed above it. Usually some follow through will exist, so let's see if we can get this one to 7 or 8. BLBD, long-term rising pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and then a pop again, and then a pullback. But for now, it's a 1, 2. This is a 1, 2 of 3, meaning that 2 waves within the third major wave could get me a 3, 4, and 5 and get this into the low to mid 40s. Something to watch, especially if it takes out the double, triple top up here. BLND, V bottom with a coil, a breakout, and now a little coil, mini coils developing or flag. This takes, we should see 3.5 and 4.25 on this one. BRBR, long, beautiful long-term rising channel over the last year and 4 months. It's taken us from under 21 to over 57, a beautiful nearly triple, but it doesn't look done yet, unless this turns into a mini bear flag here. BRZE, terrific looking software chart, software stock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 waves already. Stock is really looking good. The breakaway gap here and the pullback, which held a long support, was, I think, the key. Since then, you can see the advanced target, 63. Boston Scientific, it's a powerful chart. Mid-30s to over 60 in about a year and a half. I have an extension target of 64. CAMT exploded on Friday, another 237 to 3%, but more importantly, a new all-time high. Indeed. Here's a stock that in 2009 was trading at 21 cents. It's now $79. That's the hope of all stockholders, not that kind of a move. Where is it headed? 105. This one looks really good. The momentum is strong on it. CAPT, after exploding and coiling, has broken out of the coil. Get this one over 520 and it may run into the 6-7 zone. Kava, base, breakout, retest, and a run up. This restaurant chain at resistance, we break through here. We're looking at low and mid 50s. CBAY, tech trader swing, broke out, ran up to the target, pulled back in a flag, orderly, and now stair stepping its way higher. Really strong chart. It's moved from under 2 to the mid 20s. CCI, the largest purveyor of uranium, finally breaking out of a long base pattern. It's stair stepped its way higher as well. Big pop up early in the week, got it to a new high at 51 and change before it backed off to 47. Your target is 56. Your stop's about 41. CLBT, something new I've found, inverse head and shoulder breakout. Look, I haven't just found it, but I felt it was time I showed it to you. Beautiful consolidation here. Target 10 or better. CLS continues to ramp up after breaking out a key overhead resistance in the mid-teens. Now 31, targeting 36. Collegium breaks out of a base and runs up sharply. It's pulled back now. I don't think it's done yet. My extension target's high 30s. Koya broke out of a base platform but broke back down to the breakout point and bounced. Can't let it get below that. Stops under 5.5. Resistance 6.5. The target is 8 and 10. Credo, really like this one. Popped out of a wedge Friday with a nice spike, about 9%. That's the highest closing we've seen, I think, ever. Indeed, the stock's going higher. 22 and 24.5 next targets. CRNT breaks out of a long base, spikes up to resistance and pulls back an orderly flag. It's a buy and a pullback. CRNX, Granetics, major breakaway gap, long consolidation, and then it's running up. Target 42. CRSP with a monster move, we caught it here as it ran from the high 40s to the mid 70s. Since then, it's backed and filled and it's formed a wedge. You can see it's narrowing near the apex, near the moving average, etc. Needs to hold. My target's back to 74 if it makes a move. CTSH coming out of the base, pulling back in platforming, and then running up again. My target 82. Carvana, not so sure about this one. Double topped up there and pulled back. There's your consolidation. Pull back to support. This needs to hold right in this area or it could die. If it does run, a retest of the 5860 zone might be in order. Consolidated water, CWCO, beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, maybe. Right now, came down to the trend line. The falling wedge may have reversed on Friday. Keep an eye on that one. Target 38 and 44. Well, CYTK, explosive move about a month ago with volume and a breakaway gap, and ran up to the target. Now it pulled back down. It's just drifting down there. Perhaps awaiting takeover news. DAVA, beautiful base, breakout, retest, run up to the resistance and target. Next target, 95. DBRG, breakout, consolidate, take out the declining top line, and now move up in coil. This has been taking a long time for this one. Should have breakout, looking for 21, 23. DBX, long base, long consolidation, breaks out, retests, and pops to the target. Next target, and that's an all-time high, by the way. I think this might be a takeover, perhaps somewhere around high 30s. Dell, tech trader swing popped, pulled back, we put a swing on it. It's finally moved up from the high 60s to the mid 80s. I have a target now at 92, 94. DraftKings, a long-time tech trader swing over the last several months has popped, round up, coiled, popped, pulled back, and popped again. If you see this over 39, 35 area, target's 44. DRS, this aerospace company, a beautiful rising channel, is at the apex of a multi-week coil. If If it breaks out, 22 and 25 are your targets. EGO. Now, I'm pointing out this gold because out of all the golds in junior or senior, this is probably the strongest of all of them. And I'm not sure exactly why, but something's going on with this one. And this massive inverse head and shoulders or cup and handle could augur well for a move that could take this to 1820. EOLS breaks out. I put a swing on it, I believe. If it didn't, I should. It's backing and filling here. I like this for a move to 1415 and eventually high teens. Epics. Long coil, pop up and wedge, breakout, retest, create a new rising channel, break the resistance, accelerate, retest. It's just one of those stocks symmetrically looks good, but it's very thin. Eventual target is 15, 14 3/4, 15. Bitcoin and crypto stocks really had a hit last week after running up, and ETH is no exception in terms of pullback, but it's much shallower than some of the others, and the relative strength on this one is quite good. Not sure what that means right now. You can see the rising channel that's submitted. EWTX exploded, three-wave corrective pullback flag, and then another explosive move, especially on Friday when it traded 8.7 million for that stock, very heavy, up 369 of 38%. You get through here when you're looking at it, a $20 stock. EYPT exploded, pulled back. We put a swing on it. It went from about 18 to 24 and change. It backed off. It's coiling. Next target, 28. Flex. Long 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave's underway. Might be a 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for more 25-6 range. FRO, the shippers have been strong. Look at this channel up. Now it did get up to resistance and backed off here. So we'll have to see whether it's able to extend this. If it does, 26 target. Frog. Double top, pop, coil, breakout, retest. The overall look is pretty impressive. I can see the stock making it to low to mid 40s. Fusion in the biotech sector breaks out, runs up, and is coiling. Next target, 11.5 and 14. GBTC, another crypto stock, race coil Bitcoin. You can see how much this has gone. In about a year, 7 3/4 into the low 40s. Big reversal in volume, though. Be careful up here. These are lofty. GCT, spiked to the target, pulled back to support. Ran up again, backed off a little Friday. Net, a bull wedge. Support, don't want this under 1740, above 27.34. Geo, tech trader swing when it popped out, down around the 8 range, has made it up to 11 plus, 1135, and now flagging yet again. Friday might have broken out. Your target's 12.5. GTHX, spiked up in December and coiled ever since. Last week it started to make a move, but it backed off Friday. Let's see if this can get going again. I got a $5 and $6 targets on this. GitLab, long base, breakout, formed a wedge or coil in here, and broke out Thursday, Friday. Very nice action. Targeting 78. IDYA is on my top 20 long-term biotech list from last year. This one went from the high teens into the 40s. Still looks good to me. Longer-term chart says possibilities are going to be 55 and 65. IMMX popped out and pulled back orderly, is retesting support and the trend line. If it does hold it there, 8 and 10 are your next targets. IMNM, steady as she goes, broke through a double top, kept going to my target of 15. Extended, perhaps, but has momentum. IMVT, now coiling, consolidating in this zone, might be ready to make a move. If we get to the triple top at 45, I would look at 55 and 65. INFN V bottom, spike up through the moving averages, pull back and test, create a new rising channel. At this point, 5 3/4, 6.5 are targets. IoT, beautiful long-term chart. Been consolidating in that zone for a while. Support at 30, resistance 35.6, target low to mid 40s. Iovance was looking great until this week when it came down and broke its trend line. It didn't break its price support, but I'd be watching this carefully. Under 745, you don't want to be around. Target 11 if it goes. IVVD with a big pop and coil, breakout and run up. Looks to me like a stock is headed for 5.5 and 6. KD, beautiful rising chart as well. Ever since it broke out in November, it's been doing this. Beautiful rising channel with a target of 23.5. KOLD we talked about earlier. Copen, tech traded swing, ran up to target and pulled back hard and had a nasty reversal day on Friday, I think. Let me check this out. Yeah, I'm gonna discount that because it was after hours. Target 2.5, 3, and 4. LBPH, after spiking up and pulling back, we put a swing on it. It's still coiling. When it does go, I would look for low to mid 30s. LOGI, long time tech traded swing, I believe, from back here in July. But you can see how it just keeps going up. Now look at this long-term move. After getting hammered all the way back to low 40s, it's doubled into the 95 range. Next target 106. LRN, also a nice rising channel and flagging above all-time high territory, targeting 70. LTRX, finally breaking out of the base and coiling and then breaking out of the coil, have an extension target at 8. METC in the coal sector, stair-step move up, pop, wedgie, pop, flag, pop, and a larger flag, and then another pop. Retest. Well, if this angle extends to high 20s as your target. MGNX, nice base, breakout wedge, stair-step you were higher, broke out Friday, looking for 14 and 18. MOD, long-term rising channel, and a beauty. Top of the channel target, 73. Breakout Friday at MRUS, and then a pullback. Didn't close great. Got up to almost 40 and closed 35.5, but still up 364. That's a major breakout to new all-time high territory, but it's overextended. Micron, Intel, all the major semiconductors look like this. Long in the tooth? Maybe. Target, 98. NRDS, V-bottom, breakaway gap, coil, pop, flag, one more leg up, possibly 16, 17 zone. Nutanix, one of my favorites, long-term tech traded swing, pop, pull back, coiled, broke out, retested the moving average, and then started to go. From that point, 35 to 55. Target, 63. NVDA, the tracking stock for NVIDIA, breaking out of a long consolidation. Might be a runner next week if Intel is as well. I mean, NVIDIA. NVDX is another. ORIC, tech trader, new swing, broke out of a triple top. We put a swing on it. I'm looking for 12 and 14. Oscar broke out too. That's a tech trader swing after popping here. It's running nicely. I got a target of 16 and then 19. PATH broke out of a beautiful base with a breakaway gap. Let's pull back right to support and a falling wedge on low volume. My kind of entry opportunity. Targets at 27 and 30, 31. PACCAR, look at that chart. Beautiful rising channel. I got a target at about 105 to 107. PCVX breaks out of a trading range, runs up, retests right there, and snaps right back. Overall, look at this one. Tells me we could be a takeout, much higher. PHR, V bottom, platform, breakaway gap, run up and flag at key resistance here. But my next target, 31 and 35. PHVS popped out, consolidated. Looks like it was breaking out last Thursday. Unable to get to resistance, it backed off yet again. Watch the triple top at 30. Following targets at 35 and 38. PI. Breakaway gap, running gap, long consolidation, breakaway gap. This one looks to me like it's not done either. 105 and 115 targets. Pinterest, PINS popped with a breakaway gap here in November, has run up ever since. It's now coiling. Double top around 39 and a quarter a half. Target low 40s. PLTR, Well, the long-term pattern is broken. It's in a declining pattern until if it gets above 17 with energy. I really play this with caution. PSTG breaking out last week for 3 days in a row and right up to resistance. Take a look at this, all-time high territory. We can get above that. We might run into the low to mid-40s. Qualcomm, base breakout, pullback retest, and spike. Just another semiconductor stock making a move. Target 160.62. Quick, it's still a junior semiconductor. Broke out of a base there, coiled for a few months, popped, and then another mini coil, then ran up a wedge and popped and is now flagging. It looks to me like headed to 17 and then 18 and a half. Ramp, an old swing of mine, a former tech trader, long-term play, has run in the last 14, 15 months from the mid-teens to the low 40s. Next target, 45.6. Radian breaks out of a long multi-month consolidation, pops, and is now forming a flag in its area. The overall look of this pattern is bullish, and projections are low in the mid-30s. REVG with a long rising channel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now a consolidation. If it does have another leg, 22 is your target. Careful under 16 though. RNA bottomed, broke out, retested, rising flag, and then a pop. The overall look, very bullish. The overall target, 14 and a half. RXST, just a monster. From October's low of 20 and change to near 50, 48 anyway. But 140% type gain. But it's flagging. This one looks outstanding, and I'm looking for high 50s. Rhythm broke out of a base, coiled for a few months, and then stair-stepped its way higher before entering another coil. So in essence, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm looking for a move much higher into the 50s. Sava, inverse head and shoulder breakout retest, trying to pop here. Cannot let this one go under 21 3/4. Targets to 31 and 37. SCRA with an explosive move, pullback flag, and overall a coil. It breaks out of this, looking at maybe 8 and 9.5. SFM, that's Sprouts Family Markets, accelerating beyond the top of the channel, always a good sign that it's about to ramp up. Mid-50s target. SGHT is a tech trader swing, inverse head and shoulders, breakout and coil. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave says 9 or 10 bucks. I like this one. SHOP, breakaway gap, strong run up, retest, then a pop and a flag. Next move, 89. Silk. Nice slow rising channel off the lows. This one's got killed. Literally went from the 70 range down to 6. It's coming back steadily. Next target, 19. SKX Skechers, been a beautiful long-term uptrend. I like the way this looks. My near-term target is 70. SLDB, tech trader swing, popped and is flagging here. I got a $14 target. Maybe 11.5 and 14 would be appropriate. SLNO popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It took a while, but it started to advance from the 1920 zone into the mid-40s. More to come, 50 and 58 targets. SMCI went bonkers on Friday, 116 points or 37%. What a move. Breaking it out of a 6-month consolidation and now headed for probably 500. Snap. Well, it crackled and popped out of the big base, and now it's flagging. If it doesn't take out the lows and then runs up, I have a $20 target. The SOXL, which is the another ETF for the semiconductors with a 5-wave advance, may be nearing the end of it, but we could have some extension here into the high 30s, low 40s. SRRK popped and broke out. We put a swing on it, and then wedged and broke out and went to my target. Recent pullback has it back near a support level. If it does run, 21.5 and 25 are targets going forward. SSNT exploded in wedge and then exploded again. Now it's pulled back. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Not sure how far they take this. We don't want it any lower than where it is, ideally. If it starts to run 20 and 27 targets. STIM in the diagnostics and research field with a pop coil, pop wedge, another pop pullback, and breakout. The way it's holding the trend line tells me it's not done yet, targeting 485. STNE, a South American software stock with a big base, finally exploded and ran up, although it's pulled back here and we don't want to see it ideally below 16. Targets are 19 and 21 going forward. STTK, breakaway gap, pop and coil, and then another run up in a rising channel. Next leg, 13. SWTX, beautiful long-term base, breakaway gap, pop, and a wedge, and then rising channel. Extension target, 47. TARS, inverse head and shoulders, breakout flag, break out of the flag and extend. 25 and 28 are targets. TASK, looks like a little left shoulder, head, right shoulder. In either case, it's a bottom with a pop and a coil or wedge. Once you get this one up about 1365, I would look for 16. TK shippers, TK tank, it's a shipping stock, may be accelerating here if my target's 10.5. TLSI exploded and been coiling for about 5 weeks. You break out of here, you're looking at 12, 13. TMDX with a big breakaway gap took out the declining channel and the moving averages and then started a rising channel. Next target, 95. TNK, another shipper, broke through resistance there. A little bit of a pullback flag and starting to run. Next target, mid to high 60s. Uber, been a beautiful rising channel for about a year and 2 months. It was trading down to 24. It's gotten to 65. And I think this stock goes much higher. 80 or 90 might be doable eventually. UEC in the uranium group, one of the juniors. Powerful looking chart. And the angle says this isn't done yet. $11 target. UIS, tech trader junior swing, continues to ramp up. I'm now looking for a move to 7.5, 8. UTI, educational stock with a breakout platform and run. New all-time highs. The target in the mid-teens. VIRC, pop, coil, breakaway gap, and now sitting here consolidating. It's a thin stock, but it's got that kind of propensity based on the way it's forming angles and chart patterns that this could be high teens, not too distant future. BKTX, breakaway gap, tech trader swing, consolidated and popped out and flagged again and popped out Friday. I'm looking for 26 and eventually 32, 33. VRNS, Varonis, beautiful long-term chart, targeting 50. VRRM broke out of a base, retested it, and stair stepped its way higher. Based on the angle, I'll have a target at 26. VRT also ramped up and now in a rising channel, at the top of that channel, no less. New all-time highs, extended though. I'll give you a target of 59. VST, in a beautiful rising channel since the low 20s, has taken it to double, but my long-term chart says 45 is your target. VTEX, another beautiful rising channel coming out of the base, coiling, popping, flagging, targeting 8.5 and 9. WDC, Western Digital, another technology sector stock that's been phenomenal, ran to the top of the channel on Friday. Next target is 59. WRAP, finally turned things around, broke out and flagged, pulled back on Friday. Still looking for 4.5 and 5 3/4. And folks, that's it for the longs. There's just a few shorts to cover, and we're going to be done for today. AEHR is a stock I told you looked really bad when it broke down below 37. And I also told you this rising wedge was ominous and it looked lower with a target of 16, 17. We just reached that level. Next target is down around 12, 13, unfortunately. It's oversold though, so it might snap back at any point. ASIN, long-term decline, trying to form some sort of pattern here, but it looks to me like it could roll over. Be careful. AVAV spiked up to the resistance 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly a fifth wave coming to 112. Intermediate target is 1056 or less. CHX on the short side, some of the oils don't look good. This one's come down, broke that little pattern, ran to resistance and rolled over again. If it ever breaks through here, look out below. CMT, the tech trader short idea, hammered down from the bear flag and is getting sloppy in here. You don't want this one under 16. Then your target's going to be 14.5 and 13. Cocoa looks like a head and shoulder, folks. Looks like a breakdown Friday. This should be a tech trader swing short. I may put it out. CQP, Daoud formed a wedge and may be rolling over. Careful there. That's another energy stock looking weak. FLW, when I showed you that wedge a week or two ago, I said it's going to be vulnerable. It was 24 and change. It's now under 20. Gets underneath that level, look out. Fox Factory, the tech trader swing short. Just put a stop over 70, 70 and a half. And rollover could get this down into the high 50s. INMD, also a tech trader swing short. May have had a slight break out of the trend channel. I'm not seeing any conviction behind it yet, but be careful. Jill, tech trader swing short, came down hard, formed the bear flag, and now it's breaking that. The next target's on this one at 21.75 and 19. Lantheus, not sure what's wrong with or what's going on with the stocks in this group. Lithium, but this one, rising wedge, tech trader swing short, down every day since. Target, 47. And finally, NTES broke down and bounced, got the resistance and backed off. It could be a V-bottom or right-hand extension. Friday was a good day for it, so I'll reserve judgment on this one. Wait before you do anything with it. I need to see a rollover. Folks, that's a comprehensive look at all the indices, the underlying technicals, the leading ETFs that we follow. And also a list of about 135 longs and a couple dozen shorts. I'm going to do some more research on the short side this weekend. But that's it for now. An important week ahead of us next week. This is HB signing off. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.